Celeste Taylor. Celeste Taylor. Celeste Taylor. I thought she did alright last night. I genuinely thought she did alright last night. And definitely better than Erica Wheeler. And also, you could tell that she's a WNBA player. She is a WNBA level player. Before we get on to things, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to hit 21,000 subscribers by the end of the day. And right now, we're about 170 off. But Celeste Taylor, look, she played more minutes last night than she did for the Fever in 15 games for the Fever? She played more minutes last night in a game, like just one game for the Mercury. And she was fine. She was a plus 10 on the floor. I thought she was good. Like, offensively, the air ball three was not great. She, defensively, I thought did an alright job. Caitlin Clark was killing them. But Caitlin Clark, like, almost made it personal to go at her. But you can see here, like, Caitlin Clark talking about Celeste Taylor. Caitlin Clark's out here hyping up Celeste. I really wish they had kept her. Slowly starting to build friends in the WNBA. It doesn't mean she didn't have any when she was drafted. Obviously, the two of them had played with each other in Team USA. It's kind of weird. I'm happy for her. She's a tremendous player. I had so much fun when she was here. She only had 1 point, but she was a plus 10. Like, that's the thing where it's like Celeste Taylor, she actually, like, she can play. She can really play. And that's the worst part about this all, is that, like, look, that was her first WNBA game. Her first real game. Like, anyone being like, oh, well, like, all the people talking about Celeste Taylor, these were all so wrong. She was terrible today. Man, how many rookies are bad in their first game? That was her first game. That was her first WNBA game. And she was signed by the team 6 hours before. She was signed 6 hours before the game. And I don't know where she was. She might have been in Indiana. Wherever she was signed 6 hours before the game, thrown straight in to play 25 minutes. And I thought was pretty good. Like, she is still a pretty decent defender. Is she an absolutely unbelievable offensive player? No. Like, she wasn't a great offensive player at all. She airballed the 1-3 she shot, but it was a size-up step back on Caitlin Clark, which I'm like, that's not your game. That's not your game. But she did a lot of little things. And she would have made Indiana better. Like, I think that you're going to see Celeste Taylor. Obviously, I think she might be going to Australia before she comes back after the break. But she's going to be on a roster next year. She just is. Celeste Taylor will be on a roster next season. And Celeste Taylor will be playing minutes for a roster next season. Like, is she the best player in the world? No. But is she somebody that would have helped the Fever immensely throughout the year? Because, like, Ariel Atkins doesn't just go off with Celeste Taylor. I'm just saying, they win the game. If Celeste Taylor is not on the Mercury and Celeste Taylor is there for the Fever, you could put her on Cat Copper, and Cat Copper maybe doesn't go off quite as badly in the second half instead of putting Kelsey Mitchell on Cat Copper. But you can do that. Her and Lexi Hull could split minutes. One of them being on the floor at all times is probably, you're thinking probably could be a good thing for the team. And Lexi Hull is shooting terribly as well. So maybe Celeste Taylor would at least be a 30% three-point shooter, which is, again, similar to Lexi Hull. So that's the annoying thing about this whole thing, is that, like, you could tell in the game that the instincts are there. You can tell she can play a bit of a fast game. You can tell the player's there. Even though, like, Caitlin Clark got her a couple of times. Like, she did get her, I will say. Caitlin Clark with the twice on the drive, slapping it off her leg and out of bounds. Caitlin Clark got her. She got her. So I'm not going to get too bogged down on that. Like, she's but she did exactly what her job is. She did exactly what her job is. And that is the thing, is, like, players being able to do their job, and especially players that fit in with Caitlin Clark, are going to be unbelievable. But the problem is that, again, you've got a GM who will pick players based on what used to work in the WNBA. You've got a GM, like, yeah, she was responsible for building the brilliant Seattle Storm teams back in the day. Like, you're going to want, for her, according to Lynn Dunn, if you're not Sue Bird, you're not really a point. If you're not a Sue Bird type player, you're not really a point guard. Heck, she probably thinks Erica Wheeler is actually the best point guard in this team. Like, it's so tough watching this Indiana Fever team because it's like, I just wish Caitlin Clark went anywhere else. I wish she went anywhere else. Literally any other team. Like, even the teams with terrible coaches, terrible front offices, they're not this bad. They're not this bad. Not this franchise. Not a franchise that hasn't won in 10 years. Every other team in the WNBA is literally made so that even if you're terrible, you still should make the playoffs once every 3 years. They went a decade without doing it. And these type of decisions are what is causing it. And it's like, she's not. Look, Celeste Taylor is not this brilliant player. She's not this absolute game changer. But she could have done something. What is Saxton doing on the team? Damiris Dantas, oh my god, she's terrible. I get it. Again, there is probably a situation where Damiris Dantas is a good player. But like, she is a back to the basket post up big. She is a back to the basket. She is like, do you remember what Aaliyah Boston was like at the start of the year? Where she was slow, her hands weren't like, not even their hands weren't great. She was slow. She wouldn't set screens. She just needed to get the ball in the post, and she would do some work there, and wasn't even good at that. That is what Damiris Dantas is. Dantas can shoot the ball a little bit. She can shoot the ball. She's got decent touch. She's terrible. And she's actually terrible. Like, she's, other than the one game against the Liberty where she shot the ball pretty well. She's what? Got 2 points all season other than that? She's terrible. Like, there's no reason. She would give more than Damiris Dantas for the team. She would give obviously more than Saxton. Like, Saxton doesn't play. Oh, it's so frustrating. But you know what? I'm happy for Celeste Taylor. Because she did all right in that game. Look, they got 2 more games for the Olympics, and I think she's going to do fine in both of them. I think she's going to do enough to cement her spot on a roster next year. I think the team's going to take a chance on Celeste Taylor next year. And I think she will play big minutes in these games. She could start. She genuinely could start. And we're going to see Celeste Taylor, hopefully before the Olympics, have one big game, go off to Australia, have a good year, and get onto a roster for next season. A roster where she doesn't have to deal with Lindon and Christie sides. So, yeah, it is. It is one of those things where it is quite disappointing, but I wonder who's next. Like, Grace Berger couldn't even play. They couldn't even put her on up 30 yesterday. So, Grace Berger, like, I'm guessing she's going to be gone the expansion draft, and she needs to find somewhere else. To be fair, though, like, it's funny that the players that fit the style of play that Caitlin Clark plays are either being benched or cut. That's the funniest part about it all. Anyway, that is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.